Today on In the Woodyard, we've got a delivery and we're talking business, firewood business. Here we go. Today is another beautiful day in the woodyard. It is 45 degrees and sunny. Awesome. It's going to get cold and it's going to freeze up finally because we've got slop and mud everywhere right now and it's not fun. I've got an order I've got to do today. It's later today. It's for a face cord, a third of a cord, a ricka-rinka row. And I'm going to put that into the trailer. We're going to go deliver it later today. But right now I got something to talk about because there's been a few things that have come up on the channel that I've been seeing a lot of, and it's something that I think a lot of you are interested in. Now, on one hand, a lot of the people that watch the channel sell firewood. And on the other hand, there's a lot of people that just like firewood and they cut a lot for themselves. They burn, they heat, whatever they do with firewood. So we got two different audiences really. I think a lot of the people that sell wood also heat with wood too, or burn it for fun. And there's just enthusiasts, people that cut a little bit, people that cut a lot. I'm getting questions from both of those groups, the people that just heat with wood and the people that sell wood. And it's kind of a common question. I thought today would be a great day to talk about it. The question that comes up, people that are new to this generally, people that haven't been burning wood their whole life, people that maybe are just getting started, whether they're selling some wood or they're heating with wood. The question is how much wood am I going to need for next year? Well, that's a tough question to answer, but I'm going to attempt. Because it depends on so many variables. Well, first of all, those of you that have been around a long time, you know the right answer as far as how much wood you need to have to sell. More. You will not have enough. You will run out. More is the right answer. That's how much. More. As much as you can get, as fast as you can get it. Cut it, stack it, pile it. So as I was thinking about how much wood you need to have, I'll give you for instance, when I first started selling firewood, I had extra wood I wasn't going to be using that I just thought, I'll try to sell some and see, if it'll sell or how much I can get for it, that kind of thing. I had about 13 full cords, about 40 face cords, and it sold within a couple weeks. It was just gone. And I thought, wow, that went fast. I would like to do that again. So the next year I doubled and I doubled and I doubled every year after that. It just kept growing, and now I do a couple hundred full cords a year, which is about as much as I have time for or that I care to do. I still want to have this be fun. But for people that are just getting into this, you can't have too much. You will find out very fast, and I've heard this from almost everybody that I have talked to. If you're in an area that's got a decent market for firewood, if there's people around, you're going to sell wood very easily. If you've got a very good product and you have good service and you know your market, your market might be like what my brother Ken has in northern Wisconsin. I shouldn't say all, but probably 90% of the people he sells to, they're buying for heating their homes. They're buying heating wood, whether it's for a wood boiler or for a wood stove, and they want bigger chunks of wood. The stuff that I've got here, these smaller ones, this is more for fireplaces, the solo type stoves, the smokeless stoves, or fireplaces, the smaller inserts are a small wood stove or a garage stove. That's what I sell most of the time. And camping, people that go camping. Backyard fire pits, that's what I sell to. That's 90% of my market. I have a small percentage of people, 10-15%, that I sell to that do heat with wood. Some of them it's for auxiliary heat, some it's 100%, that's what they heat the house with. A lot of the people that I sell to also will buy wood just to cut down on their heating bills. They might have a fireplace or a small wood stove, and they might cut their heating bill in half just by burning the wood that I got. So your market and the number of people you have to sell to is going to dictate a lot as far as how much wood you're going to sell, how much wood you need. But I can guarantee you this, once you start selling wood, like I said, if you've got a good product, if you do good service, if you deliver to people, you won't have enough. You will need more. One of the guys that asked me said he's somewhere in southwestern United States. He didn't say the state. He said, I'm in the Southwest. That's what he said. And he said, I want to start selling wood. We only have a couple kinds of wood. How much wood am I going to need to sell the first year? And it's like, man, I told him, I said, get cutting now. Cut as much as you can, as fast as you can. Get as much free wood as you can. Buy wood if you have to. You will sell wood, but start small with your equipment, with whatever you've got. Like I've said many times, all you need to start a firewood business is a chainsaw. You don't even need a wood splitter. You can do it you just use a splitting maul. That's what I did the first year. I split it all by hand. The first 2 years I cut pretty much everything and split it by hand because I enjoyed doing it and wanted the exercise, but then it got to be too much. I just couldn't do it, and then buying a splitter was tremendous. production went way up. You can split all day long with a splitter, whereas with a splitting mill, you're good for a couple hours and you're done. You just can't, unless you're 25 or something like that. A lot of people that are doing wood though aren't that age. They're older, 40, 50, 60, 70 guys just want to do it for fun for on the side. So getting equipment is going to save time and you're going to up your production. But to start out with, chainsaw, splitting mill, or a used or a small box store splitter just to split wood, if you can put together, say 10 full cords, 30 face cords, that's a good start. And the thing is with wood is it's not something that you can just produce and sell. You're going to have to be ahead of schedule, so to speak. You have to stockpile your wood for a good 6 months to a year before you can sell it, because it needs to dry. Unless you're selling to people for heating and they're going to store it for a year or 2 years and they know it needs to dry, you know, you've got to be upfront about that. If you try to sell wet wood, you're going to lose customers fast. You're going to not only lose customers, you're not going to get them back because they're never going to trust you again if they expect the wood to burn. You've got to have wood that's split, dried, ready to burn now, today, right now. That's what they want. There are some people that get away with selling wet wood, and that's generally the people that are heating with it. Like I said, they're buying ahead of time. Or they're buying ahead of time for themselves and they know it's going to take a year for it to dry, and you're upfront about that. But if you're telling people it's your job to dry the wood, and I don't care if it takes you a year or 2 years to dry it, my job is to cut it, split it, and deliver it. People want a product that they can use right away. You don't go to the grocery store and buy produce in hopes that someday it's going to get bigger, that in 6 months it's going to be ready to eat in 6 months. You want it today. You go to there to buy it now. You don't go and buy a truck or a car or vehicle of some sort so that you can have it parked in your driveway and then hopefully someday it'll be good enough. It'll get stronger, get a better engine. It'll get better so that in 3 months from now you can use it. You buy stuff to use now. Life is short. Get busy doing stuff. That's my opinion. So back to the amount of wood. Like I said, more is the right amount. And people always ask me these questions too. How do I get all this wood? Well, we live in an area where central Wisconsin is fairly heavily forested. There's a lot of loggers in this area. We have a lot of paper mills. There's lumber mills. And then if you go from where I am to the north, there's a lot of forest. It's a majority of forest. And there's a lot of logging that happens up there because that's what they've got. That's their crop they have is trees. So we have access to a lot of loggers that supply wood to paper mills and to lumber mills, to pallet mills, to firewood mills. I mean, chip mills for biomass. There's a lot of tree industry in Wisconsin here, a lot of it, the Great Lakes area in general, whether it's Michigan, Minnesota, that kind of area, and then even going over towards the east, you go to Ohio, all the way over to the northern east coast. There's a lot of logging that happens here. And then again in southern United States too, they have a lot of timber crop. So there's places. But if you live in an area, say you live in the Plain States and the closest tree, you got to drive 10 miles to go see it, you're probably not going to have very much access to wood. So you might have to get tree service wood. You might have to pay extra money to have wood trucked in, that kind of thing. My advice when you're first starting out though, whether it's wood for yourself or wood that you're going to be selling, try to get free wood. Offer to cut trees down for people if you're capable. Try to find people that have acreage with trees that are dying and you can help them out and get some of the wood or do shares with them. Or you can find tree service people that want a place to get rid of wood. There are ways to get wood. Look on Craigslist, look on Facebook Marketplace, look for people that want trees gone. Now some of these people you're not going to want to deal with, I can tell you that. I found this out that there are people that would say, I've got 4 big huge dead ash trees, you can cut it, you can take it all. Well then you look at it, no, yeah, it's trees. But if you go look at the property, you look and there's a building here, there's a building here, there's high lines here, there's a highway here. The reason they want you to take it for free is they had, more than likely, a tree service come in and say, oh, that's going to be $4,000 for us to remove those trees. And they're like, well, I'm not paying that. Somebody will cut them for free. The thing is that the person that cuts them for free is not going to have the insurance, is not going to have the equipment, is not going to have the knowledge, the skills to drop them properly, to not damage property or themselves on your property. So there's that. I've said no to a lot of people that I sell wood to, and they're like, hey, I got a tree in my backyard, would you like it? And I said, it depends. I said, I need to see it. And if it's in the open and there's nothing around it, no fences, no houses, no people, no cars, no garages, no buildings, no houses, no power lines, yeah, then maybe I can take it and I can cut it down. There's that. And I also have a lot of people that will have a tree service drop a tree and they put it on the ground and they know the tree service has told them they're going to be paid. They're going to be charged extra to be paid to haul it away, which means cutting it into manageable sizes, loading it in a trailer, and then hauling and disposing of it. Because they pay dump fees to get rid of those. So if they say no to that, sometimes they say, we'll just leave it, I'll cut it up. Well, then they find out how much work it is and they don't cut it up. They end up saying, oh, come get some free wood, cut it up and haul it out. You got to bring a truck and a trailer and all that kind of stuff. So there's ways to do it. So for a person that is going to be selling wood, more, just every minute you have that you can get to spend cutting, finding, sourcing, hauling, splitting, piling, stacking, whatever it is you do, get as much wood as you can. More is the right amount. You will run out, you will need more. And the other thing, like I've said, is this is like money in the bank. It's growing interest. As it dries here, it's getting to be worth more money. It's getting more valuable. And this is like a deposit that is going to sit here for 6 months, 9 months, a year before it can be sold. It's not like I said, you can just turn it around right away. There are a few people, like I've mentioned, that you can sell wood to right away that are okay and they know that it's going to be for future purpose. But those are hard to find. There's not a lot of those available unless you're in an area where people do heat with wood and they understand that they want to purchase wood ahead of time. Where they need bulk quantities. I've got one lady I sold a semi-load to this year and she wanted wood for 2 years. That's fine with me. So she knows it's not ready to burn. I told her, no, this wood is not going to be ready for a year. I said, in a year you could burn it, in 2 years for sure. I did deliver her a couple loads that were ready to burn now because it was ash and it was fairly dry. And I told her, I said, because that was earlier this year, and I said that by the time you get to your burning season, this wood will probably be fine. You can put it in and burn it. And she has been burning some of it, so there's that. Now, if you're burning wood for yourself to heat and you're new to this whole heating game or the wood game, it depends on your climate. Are you in a northern area of the United States or Canada or your country? Where are you in a very cold climate where you get lots of below zero temperatures? Is it something where it's going to be 100% of your heat? Is your house huge? Is it well insulated? What kind of stove do you have? What kind of wood do you have access to? All those variables are going to matter. You want whatever wood you can get in your area that's the best wood. So if you've got really good hardwood from, like, say, oak, and you've got hickory, and you've got locust, you've got ironwood, you've got Osage orange or hedge, or you got almond wood, or whatever the wood is in your area that's really good, that's the kind of wood you're going to want to get, the better wood. Now, if you're out western United States, you might only have lodgepole pine. You might only have pinyon pine. Or you might only have ponderosa pine. That might be all you have, which is similar to white pine. It's not great firewood as far as BTUs, but that might be all you have. So you might need more of it. But you also might not need as much because your climate is not as cold. You don't have 6 months of below zero weather like we can have here in Wisconsin. We get some cold weather here. The last 2 years have been awesome. It's been pretty darn nice like this. But I remember years where we've had a month where it's been below zero or 10 below or 20 below, and it just doesn't get warm, and we get 2, 3, 4 feet of snow. It just keeps coming. We've had winters like that. I kind of like this stuff myself. So you're going to need more. And if say you're in Alaska, you may only have two kinds of wood to choose from. You might have spruce, which a lot of people tell me that's what they've got, spruce. Or you might have birch, or there might be some other things that you can get. But you're going to need lots more because you have much more winter, much longer burning season than what we would have even here. So the farther north you go, the more wood you're probably going to need. I know in a lot of Canada and I know northern Wisconsin, hard maples is the wood of choice. That's what everybody wants, and there's lots of it. And it's excellent firewood. A lot of people, certain parts of the country think oak is the best. Oak is great, but it's not the best. There's a lot of other wood that has more heat in it. The one reason I don't really like oak that well is it takes so long to dry, and this is all oak back here. Whereas hard maple, 6 months, you cut it, split it, 6 months it's dry. 6 months, 9 months, it's ready to go. Oak, especially if you've got bigger chunks, it can take a year, year and a half, 2 years. It takes much longer to dry. So the bigger your chunks are, the longer they're going to take to dry. That's a fact, no matter where you are. Your drying climate's going to matter. If you've got rain all the time, say you're in Ireland and you get 80 feet of rain, whatever it is you guys get there, where it rains 360 days out of 365, you're probably going to want to make sure your wood is off the ground. You're going to want to have it covered somehow in a shed or some type of roof to keep the rain off. We don't get that much rain. I mean, we get rain, but the rain dries off in a matter of hours after it's done raining. So it'll rain, say it rains all day long, we might get 1 inch, 2 inches. I dig into the wood piles and it's about that far down, it's wet. It sheds itself off. The wood soaks a little bit up on the outside, but it's drying. As soon as the wind comes and happens and the sun comes out, within a matter of hours, our wood is dry, just like a sidewalk dries off. When it rains, when the wind and the sun hit it, it's just a matter of hours and it's dry. Even your puddles will recede into the ground, you know. They'll seep into the ground, they'll dry up and they're gone. It might take a day or two, but they're gone. But the wood does not sit in water. It sheds it just fine. You could cover it if you want, but in my opinion, you're better off leaving it open. It's going to dry much more if it's open. I know guys that have done studies. There's 2 guys on my channel that I've talked to. They've emailed me back and forth and said one guy said he's been doing firewood for 45 years selling it, and he said he has never covered anything. He always does piles like this. He has big, huge piles. He just piles it. He said it dries better this way than stacked because the stacking, he said, like I know, and I've done it, you stack it all tight together, all in layers. It's like you take a book, which is made of wood, paper, soak it in water, get it soaking wet, and then close it up, and then put another book on top of it, another book on top of it, another book on top of it. It's not going to dry fast. But if you take that book and you open it up and set it out in the open, it's going to dry because it can breathe. The sun can hit it, the wind can hit it. It's going to dry. So space and airflow is very important. Sun's important. All these little holes you see in here, the air can flow through that and it dries. So back to how much wood you need. In my opinion, if you've got a big market, say you've got 500,000 people you can sell to, you're going to need a lot of wood. You're going to need hundreds of cords, full cords, because you will sell that much as you build your business. If you do delivery, if you're competitive, if you've got a good product. More is always the right number when it comes to firewood. That's just the way it is. And if you're heating with wood, there's nothing wrong with having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My dad at one time had 7 years worth of wood cut and ready to burn. He was in his 70s and he knew he wasn't going to be able to do it forever. And he got to a point where he was 7 years ahead. I think he was burning somewhere around 20 face cords a year. So about 7 full cords. And he figured it was a little over or about 100 face cords at one time. And he figured, he was 5, 6, 7 years ahead, and he cut a little bit more, and then every year he cut a little less. And he got to a point where he says, I'm done. I'm going to burn what I've got, and when it's gone, I'm done. And that's what he did. And then he ended up he might have had 10 or so, maybe 12 face cords left over. And I bought it from him. I just gave him some money because my brothers and I have cut it. And I took it and then I sold it because he was not going to use it anymore. He just wanted to go on. He still got some on his property, actually. So there you go. Now we're going to go load some wood and go do a delivery. There it is, a trailer load of, well, it's not loaded, it's partially loaded, but I got a little more than a face cord or a third of a cord. I threw some extra stuff in. I kind of dug through here because there was some stuff I didn't want to deliver. There's a little bit of aspen or poplar in here, and I saw a little bit of cottonwood, which I really don't want to deliver to people that want it for heating. And this guy, I think, is going to do bundles with this and sell it in front of his house. From the way I understand, he's a new guy, so there'll be that. So I tried to pick out stuff that would be good for bundling. So there's mainly ash, maple, and elm is what I saw the most of. I did see a little bit of thornapple, and I did see a little bit of oak, and a little bit of applewood. So that's what's in here. And this bin, I'd like to get it all cleared out because I want to continue filling up this with oak. Because this bin is getting down there. So hopefully I can sell a lot of this stuff off over the next couple months and then fill it up with other stuff. The bins over there are pretty full. That one over there is full. That one over there is pretty full. That's full. This one back here, I got a little open spot back there you can see. And then the one way back there has got ash in it, and that's going to be all mixed hardwood. And that bin there, the one that collapsed, has got mixed hardwood in it too. And then down in the end there's oak. And I got a delivery for oak and cherry tomorrow, and it's going to be 2 face cords of cherry and 2 face cords of oak. He wants a full, big trailer load full, and he's using it mostly for smoking and for making maple syrup. I guess he does those 2 things, so that's what he wants. The wind picked up. It's about 30-mile-an-hour winds right now. You probably can't see it on camera, but it's windy here. And we're going to go do a dump right now. So there's the wood we just put in the rack. It's 8 feet wide, 4 feet high, plus maybe a little bit extra. And I'm gonna show people when they think that I don't know how much wood I put in my trailers. I knew I had extra. I knew there was a couple extra armfuls, and here's what's left over. So there's probably at least 1/8 of a face cord, or maybe 1/4 of a face cord extra, that plus that. So, and I knew I had that much extra. I always try to throw in 3 or 4 extra armfuls, so there it is. So another example of I give too much wood away, but that's okay. That's all I got for today, folks. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. Good night, Irene.